Hey, I'm Meggie Kay, and in my last video I mentioned how I'm moving to Japan. Yay! But there's actually a longer story. It's not just, oh, I applied to JET and now I'm moving to Japan, yay. There's a story. So I am going to share that story with you. So for the story, we need to roll it on back to like 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. Probably 2006. I was in grade 11. Grade 11. So when I was in grade 11, I took a travel and tourism class, and one of my assignments was to do a little research about Japan. And this was a very superficial project, like population, main tourist attractions, nothing too fancy. But it was enough to like spark some interest. And I was like, hey, this seems like a pretty cool country. And around the same time, Japanese rock music was becoming pretty popular. Like, I would actually just like find articles about Japanese rock bands in my like rock magazines I would read. Like, it was just around. And actually, I was supposed to go to a concert back then, and it like didn't happen because of a blizzard. It's disappointing. And it was also at this same time that I became really good friends with a couple of exchange students that were at my school. There was a girl from Finland and a boy from Taiwan, and I became pretty good friends with them. And I was like, hey, how did you come here? I want to go to foreign countries like this. And they told me about Rotary Youth Exchange. So I applied for a Rotary Youth Exchange. And for my Rotary Youth Exchange, you actually had to like list like 40 countries or something ridiculous, like order them. Like from number one, the one I most want to go to like, I don't know, whatever the last country there was on the sheet. I think there might have been like 10 that I didn't have to number, but it was a little ridiculous. Of course, because I was interested in Japan at the time, I'm like, hey, let's go to Japan, #1 country. And they told me I was going to Japan, and I was so excited, and I registered for Japanese classes at my local college, despite not graduating high school, because I'm an overachiever like that. With Rotary and a lot of exchange programs, you actually go through like orientations and stuff like that, and I went to these orientations and told everyone, I'm going to Japan, I'm going to Japan, I'm so excited. And then one day I got a phone call from like the exchange coordinator. I thought that she was calling me to let me know what town I would be going to, because at this point I only knew that I was accepted into the exchange program. They sent my papers off to Japan to be filled out by the club there, and I'll get them back and they'll have all the details about the town I'm living in and my host family and whatever else. And that's what I thought this call was gonna be. Like, oh, we got your paperwork back and this is where you're going and blah blah blah. Because the week before, I found out that another girl that was doing the exchange got all of her paperwork back, and she knew the exact city she was going to, and it was like super exciting. So it was that time where people were getting their paperwork back. However, this call was not me getting my paperwork back. It was a call saying that I could no longer go to Japan. After telling everyone I met, they knew I was going to Japan because I was so excited, so obviously I didn't keep it to myself. Wasn't going anymore. And the thing is, there was nothing I could have done. Basically, they sent my papers off to Japan, the club accepted it, they're like, oh, she can come here. Turns out that the club was expecting to have an exchange student to send out, and then that is the family I would live with. But they didn't get an exchange student to send out, and therefore did not have a host family for me to live with. And I don't have a host family to live with, I can't do the exchange. I was so upset, and like, I literally was thinking I should call her back and let her know that I don't care where I go in Japan. You could put me in like the far wilderness of Hokkaido. Like, I don't care. I just want to go to Japan. Why aren't you sending me to Japan? There has to be a spot somewhere. But obviously that's not how it works, and they looked in different clubs in different areas around Japan to see if there was still a spot open because, you know, at this time, paperwork had already been sent out and, you know, this process was already at a certain point. So a lot of the spots had been filled and I couldn't go to Japan. I was kind of like back to square one. They gave me the option. They're like, oh, you could go to Taiwan because the person that does the exchanges in Japan also takes care of Taiwan. They're like, oh, we have places in Taiwan. You can definitely go there. No questions asked. You're in. Or they look back at my list, that giant list of countries I had, and they were like, oh, there might be a spot in Germany, Chile, or Argentina, which were my 4th, 5th, and 6th choices. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know. And I actually was like, I need to think about this. And I hung up the phone and I just like started crying because I was so upset. And yeah, I ended up in Germany. Not going to Japan. The main thing that like really sucked was that I now had to go and like explain the story to everyone who thought I was going to Japan. And that's why I've been so hush-hush and quiet about the whole jet thing and moving to Japan this time, because I was so terrified that it would fall through again last minute and I would have to go out and tell everyone again that, oh, I can't go to Japan, things happened, you know, it fell through again. And I went through it once and it like ripped my heart every time I had to explain to people that, oh, I'm not going to Japan anymore, and had to tell this whole story. And I didn't want to talk about it because I was just so upset about it. And so yeah, that's why I've been waiting so long to announce this, even though I found out that I was accepted to jet a while ago. Wasn't gonna talk about it until I get like actual paperwork and things solidified and there is no chance of it falling through. Wasn't gonna talk about it because didn't want to go through that like, oh, it hurt so much. I was so upset. But you know what, at that time, even though it was really upsetting, I went to Germany. I spent the year in Germany and it was really fun, and I got to see Europe, which is probably something I wouldn't have done at this point in my life if it wasn't for, you know, that exchange to Germany I did. And I got to go to Singapore and I went to New Zealand and I've done all these other things. And now, almost 10 years since this thing happened, I am finally moving to Japan, and it's been a long time coming. Yeah, I thought I would give you the whole story of this moving to Japan thing I'm doing. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe, because I'm gonna be making cool videos about my life in Japan soon. Okay, bye. Hey, I'm Meggie Kay, and today I have an announcement to make. I'm actually really nervous to say this out loud and put it out into the universe and make it public, and